In the 1980s and 1990s, Jack Welch, the CEO of General Electric, laid off over 100,000 employees. His reward, when he retired from GE, he received a golden parachute of over $400 million. This is the kind of corporate greed and irresponsibility that is destroying the middle class and must be ended. Bernie Sanders. Introduction. In today's corporate landscape, there's a lot of controversial components, but the one that comes out on top is the compensation packages for executives, in particular the golden parachute for CEOs, which refers to the provision of hefty compensation packages and financial benefits for CEOs in the event of termination or change in control, and these benefits are regardless of the performance of the company. Over time, the CEO golden parachute has been widely admired, but it is also widely considered a controversial policy, completely depending on who you ask. So today, let us delve into the many intricate details of this controversial topic, from case studies to industry trends and its many impacts. This topic has many implications not just for companies but also for shareholders, so keep watching if you want to have a comprehensive understanding about this topic and understand how it impacts the world of business, finance, and shares. Together, we can decide if this topic is worth the admiration or the controversy. Purpose of golden parachutes. Of course, let's start from the main question. What exactly is the purpose of the CEO golden parachute? Well, in the simplest of words, the CEO golden parachute is a form of financial security for executives in case they end up facing termination of job due to reasons out of their control, like mergers, acquisitions, or any other high-level strategic changes in the company. The main purpose of this policy is to act as a safety net and protect CEOs who may have to be let go involuntarily. The golden parachute is designed in a way that includes various hefty benefits like severance pay, stock options, huge bonuses, and many other perks for the CEO. These benefits ensure that the CEO is compensated in a fair manner, even if their tenure ends up being cut short abruptly. By ensuring a golden parachute for CEOs, companies aim to attract top talent in the industry, as they have an assurance that executives will not have to face any severe financial circumstances if they happen to abruptly lose their position. By favorable compensation packages like this, accomplished leaders in the society are encouraged to take the high-pressure role with a sense of confidence, knowing that they have some level of financial protection. The ultimate goal of companies with the CEO golden parachute is for it to act as a tool that can help them attract and retain skilled executives, while at the same time also mitigating any potential risks that may be associated with sudden leadership transitions in the company. Key components of a golden parachute agreement. For every company, there may be different policies associated with their golden parachute agreement, but there are some key components that are a crucial part of it, first of which is a severance pay. The provision of a significant severance pay in case of the termination of an executive without probable cause is actually one of the most, if not the most, crucial parts of a golden parachute agreement. The exact amount of this severance pay might vary in some companies, but typically, this pay includes several times the annual salary of the CEO and a bonus. This hefty amount ensures that the CEO has financial security even after his departure from the company. Another vital aspect of a golden parachute agreement includes an accelerated vesting of stock options and also equity awards. This means the CEO who's leaving can cash out on his investments immediately, due to which they can often maximize their financial benefit. In simpler words, this means the CEO can make use of any success of the company during his tenure and get financial benefit out of it in the form of investments. A major component of the golden parachute agreement, which is often criticized but is still an important part, is the continuation of benefits. Yes, the golden parachute agreement often ensures that CEOs have continued access to their job benefits, such as healthcare coverage, retirement contribution, and other perks, for an extended period even after their departure. As criticized as this policy is, it aims to maintain financial stability for the departing executive as they look for or transition to new employment opportunities or retirement. Evolution of golden parachutes. In the ever-changing corporate world, there is no trend that remains constant. So of course, like any other trend, executive compensation packages have also evolved significantly over the years. In the past, the primary compensation that CEOs received just included their salary and some bonuses. However, as companies grow in size, the complexity of business increases, and with that, so does the need for more comprehensive compensation packages. Only if the company has comprehensive packages can they attract and retain top talent from the industry. Of course, when so many companies have golden parachutes, why would top talent consider those companies that don't, right? A major trend change in executive compensation as complexity increases is a shift towards equity-based incentives such as stock options and restricted stock units, instead of only severance and bonus payments. By doing this, the interests of executives are aligned with the interests of shareholders, as it means executives are rewarded based on the performance of the company. Moreover, as businesses grow in size, the controversies increase as well, which is why there is also an increased scrutiny in golden parachute agreements. There is a rising income inequality and the public is becoming more aware about CEO pay ratios, which means the executive compensation packages need to be reviewed thoroughly. In these times, shareholders, activities and regulators are all pushing for a greater sense of transparency and accountability in how these packages are structured. So these packages ensure a long-term incentive for all the stakeholders involved, not just the CEO or the company as a whole. Activist shareholders challenging golden parachutes. A major reason for this increased scrutiny is the fact that the percentage of activist shareholders is significantly increasing. In fact, shareholder activism is challenging executive compensation packages in a crucial manner, particularly golden parachute agreements. These investors exert a pressure on the boards of directors in a way that they ensure that CEO payouts are aligned with the performance of the company. It is true, sometimes golden parachutes can be pretty excessive, and this pressure from activist shareholders challenges that. These activist shareholders often actively engage with the company through public campaigns and proxy voting, and by doing so, they get to influence the governance practices of the company in a way that they promote accountability among executives, instead of just giving them a safety net. Notable golden parachute case studies. Of course, there is a reason shareholders are becoming so aware and serious about these agreements. That is because there have been some notable golden parachute agreements in the past that have really made the general public question how corporate policies work. One example is that of Bob Iger, who was the former CEO of the Walt Disney Company. To ensure a smooth transition for Iger from CEO to retiree back in 2020, he received a golden parachute of around $135 million, and that's not all. This hefty package also included stock options and bonuses that were worth more than tens of millions. This did get a lot of attention, of course, considering the amount, but there is one thing to be noted. Bob Iger did play a crucial role in the company as during his tenure, Disney acquired Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm and 21st Century Fox, all of which became important income sources for the company. Other than that, Iger's leadership was the time that solidified Disney's dominance in the world of entertainment, and it is because of his crucial role that his golden parachute isn't considered extremely controversial. But that doesn't apply for all golden parachute agreements. One really controversial golden parachute is that of Steve Easterbrook, who was the former CEO of McDonald's Corporation and was dismissed back in 2019 for violating company policy by having a consensual relationship with an employee. Dismissed for misconduct? Of course, the exit package can't be good, right? Well, that's where you're wrong. He actually left with a golden parachute of around $42 million, which includes around $675,000 in cash and approximately $37 million in stock options that would vest over time other than that. He also received a continued health insurance and other benefits for a specified transition period. His departure for misconduct was controversial enough, but even more eyebrows were raised on this exit package. And of course, discussions about executive ethics and policy breaches started sparking around the world. Another golden parachute that received a lot of criticism was another one from Disney. Back in 1995, Michael Ovitz was hired as Disney's president, however he left after a short tenure of only 14 months. He was hired by Disney for his amazing talent agency success, however he struggled to fit into the culture and structure of the Disney company. And even for a short tenure of only 14 months and no major impact, Ovitz still left with a severance package worth approximately $140 million. This payout was widely criticized, and for good reason. And it did lead to major changes in Disney's executive compensation practices, which makes sense because the next time, Iger's golden parachute was more accepted around the industry. But one golden parachute that definitely wasn't as accepted was that of Mark Hurd. He joined as CEO of HP back in 2005, and he left amid allegations of misconduct. In fact, his exit was even legally controversial. Not only did he receive a hefty $40 million golden parachute package from HP, but he also received a pretty fruitful package when he joined Oracle soon after. For an exit so controversial and still receiving lucrative packages from both HP and Oracle, the public perception of both companies was significantly impacted, which also led them to change their governance structures for the better. Criticism of executive compensation justified? These case studies explain why golden parachutes are so commonly criticized. For one, critics widely argue that golden parachutes come with a lack of accountability for executives, which can in turn be unfair for the shareholders. They argue that executives can get significant payouts even if they don't meet their performance targets or work towards the success of the company. Shareholders and critics argue that payouts should be incentives based on performance, not for merely being an executive, as this also means there is a potential for abuse. This might seem skeptical to some of you, and some might agree, but it's often discussed that golden parachute agreements can encourage CEOs to prioritize short-term gains over a long-term sustainability and success of the company. They may become so focused on securing their own financial future and their own personal gain that their intentions might not always align with the best interests of the company and its stakeholders. Another common criticism that golden parachutes face is the fact that the amount is often rather excessive. CEOs out there are walking away with tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars, and if you compare just this exit package to the salary of an average worker, it all seems rather unfair. This excessive nature of the package obviously raises eyebrows amongst the general public, especially among shareholders. These agreements do provide a safety net for executives in case of a merger or an unexpected circumstance, but the thing that is often left unnoticed is the fact that it can also lead to increased cost for shareholders. Sometimes the golden parachute packages can be so hefty that they end up impacting the financial health of the company, thus increasing the cost and decreasing the benefit for shareholders. Like, no wonder they're criticizing it so openly, right? However, it really does depend on what company you look at, though. The main aim of golden parachutes isn't just for the executives, but they are also supposed to be signed in a way that they align the interests of executives with those of shareholders. They're made to ensure that top management is retained and stays focused on maximizing shareholder value, not just their personal gain. The aim is to help prevent top talent from leaving the company during difficult times, although that may not always seem like the case. In fact, many times, golden parachutes have ended up creating conflicts between executives and shareholders, simply because shareholders think they are giving benefit for poor performance as well. Alternatives to golden parachutes. At the end of the day, it really depends on what company you look at, and there may be different perceptions in different cases. But one thing is for sure, golden parachutes do get widely questioned. And it is high time that companies start to look for an alternative strategy that can help them ensure a fair compensation for CEOs in a way that also works for shareholders. One powerful alternative being used is incentives that are based on performance. This means CEO compensation is tied to how well the company is performing. When the bonuses or stock options for CEOs are closely tied to their performance targets, it encourages them to work towards the success of the company rather than their personal gain, which also works in the favor of shareholders. Another great alternative is long-term stock ownership requirements. Various companies have now made it a requirement for CEOs to hold stock in the company for an extended period as soon as their tenure starts. This ensures that their interests are aligned with the shareholders, as they themselves look for long-term success rather than short-term gains that may not align with the company's stability. Last but definitely not the least, shareholders are definitely going to love this one. Some companies have even started incorporating clawback provisions into the contracts of the executives. These provisions allow the company to reclaim any of the executives' pay if it is discovered that their actions led to a financial harm of the company in the way, or if they committed any misconduct within the organization. The future of golden parachute agreements. Now that we know all the benefits and criticisms of executive compensation packages, only one question remains. What does the future hold for these agreements? And one thing is for sure. Companies definitely need to rethink their compensation in a way that they are aligned with shareholder interests and can be justified transparently. In a society where there is a growing concern about income inequality and unfair pay ratios, there will definitely be scrutiny for companies from not just shareholders, regulators, and even the general public. It is important, now more than ever, that companies build trust and justify their decisions more transparently. Shareholders are especially concerned that executive payouts are not aligned with the performance of the company when it comes to golden parachutes. This is why it is important that companies start to shift towards performance-based incentives rather than a fixed incentive no matter how the company performs. Of course, with an increasing competition for top talent, some companies might face challenges if they don't resort to hefty compensation packages, but with the general criticism, many companies will start to shift to a more balanced mindset and ensure that their salaries are competitive but still have long-term incentives to attract top talent. Performance-based payouts are already gaining popularity, and we definitely predict that even more companies will shift towards this structure soon enough. Conclusion. As companies move from extravagant golden parachutes towards a more merit-based system, we enter a new era in executive compensation where success is measured by actual achievements, not just by mere promises. But what do you think? Is the criticism of golden parachutes justified, or should people be a bit more lenient towards them? Do let us know your opinions in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, do give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video.